Okay, so we've spent a little bit of time thinking about Lord Bingham and the idea that law should be fair. I'd now like you to think about the following passage, which is drawn from the writings of an American professor, Gearey at UC Irvine, which again I think is asking us to think about the fairness of law. You should have a copy of this, but I'm going to read it to you anyway, and I'm going to ask you a question about it, which we will then, as is our custom, think about in a little bit of time. So, here's the quotation. Quote, "The British social philosopher Stuart Hampshire, in what turned out to be his last major work, Justice is Conflict, opined that because we are unlikely to ever reach any real uniform consensus on what constitutes the substantive good in a deeply pluralist and divided world, perhaps we can, at best, arrive at some close to universal principles for processes that enable us to live together within these differences." For him, this process is audi alteram partem, here the other side, or the Anglo-American adversary principle. Okay, close quote. As I mentioned, that's from the writings of an American professor, Gearey. It's clearly about fairness, but perhaps in a somewhat broader sense than Lord Bingham's piece that we were thinking about. The question I'd like to ask you here is, what do you think Professor Menkle-Meadow means in this short paragraph with her argument about the adversary principle? Do you think that Professor Menkle-Meadow and Lord Bingham agree on some key points about fairness?